Welcome back, guys. My name is Mufflee, and today I'll be showing you several methods on how to hide and protect your loot in Ark. The first tip I have for you, I actually went over in a prior video for raft building, however I'll go over it again. If you build a raft and place all of your utilities, structures, and storage boxes on the outermost part of the raft, you'll be able to drive the raft into any stationary unbreakable rock. When you do this, all the structures that you built on the outermost part of the raft will go inside the rock. Because the rock is unbreakable, nobody will be able to break open your storages as they will be inside of it. However, do note if somebody does destroy your raft, all your structures will be destroyed as well, and all your items will be stuck inside the rock until they decompose. When doing this method, be sure not to park your raft in any deep watered areas. This way you don't have to worry about the big whales coming and destroying your raft. So do note when doing this, you don't want to have a bed right on top, otherwise it'll glitch inside the rock and you won't be able to respawn. I recommend placing down a sleeping bag somewhere in a hidden location, but still near the raft itself, that way you can get back to it when you log back in. The next tip I have is using a pillar and a mortar and pestle. I recommend using a stone pillar as it provides the best concealment for the mortar and pestle. For this method, all you have to do is place down one stone pillar in any random location. If you play on official servers, this should just blend in with the millions of other pillars that are already on the map. All you have to do now is pull out your mortar and pestle, and I recommend going into orbital cam. While placing down the mortar and pestle, in the orbital cam you're able to get a better view as to where you're placing it. This will allow you to line up the mortar and pestle with the stone pillar perfectly. Once you feel like you have it lined up perfectly, go ahead and place it down inside the pillar. Now as you can see here, you can't even see the mortar and pestle except for a tiny line on the front. Looking at the top of it, you're able to access its inventory and store any type of items that you need inside of it. From a distance, it just looks like another pillar clogging up the server. The next tip I have for you guys is involving foundations and hiding the mortar and pestle. All you have to do is start off by placing down one foundation. Again, I recommend using stone or metal as they are the best concealments for the mortar and pestle. Place down a pillar on the outer edge of the foundation. Then place down a pillar in the center of the foundation to the lowest snap point. Once you have placed that center pillar, you can go ahead and then delete the very first pillar that you had placed down. The next step is to snap another foundation to the foundation on a lower snap point. The purpose of the pillar in the center of the first foundation is to lower that second foundation 2 steps down. Next, you can place down the mortar and pestle on the very edge of the stone foundation. This again will work with stone or metal, but not so much wood or thatch because the mortar and pestle will pop out the side and the bottom of the foundation. When placing it down, try to have it perfectly lined up with the edge of the foundation. This way nothing will stick out, however we can still cover up the sticking out nose part with a wall. Once you're comfortable, you can go ahead and place it. Now as you can see here, there's a little line sticking out, but that's no big deal. Once we place another foundation on top of it, the line will go away, and you can't even notice it. As you can see here, we can access the inventory of the mortar and pestle from the top of the foundation. We can then store anything we want inside of there. Now you can still see the little knob on top, but that's not a big deal. All we have to do is place down a wall, and it'll blend in with it. Now I also want to show you how to hide a bed under the foundation, this way you always have a spawn point. All you have to do is lower the foundation as we did in the first steps for the mortar and pestle. After you do that, place a pillar in the lower foundation. After you do that, go ahead and place down another foundation on the opposite side of the highest foundation. The pillar will cause this foundation to go even lower than the middle foundation. After you place down the lower foundation, You can then delete the middle pillar and the middle foundation. Next, place down another foundation in between both of them, connected to the lowest foundation. Now your lowest foundation is 3 steps below the highest foundation. This will allow you to conceal the simple bed. Place down the bed and then place down a foundation on top of the bed. This will cause any raider to not know where your bed placement is, and if somebody's trying to destroy your beds, they won't find this one, and you still have a respawn point. Another alternative method to protecting your loot is by placing it inside of a Doed. They're fairly simple to tame, and due to their high hit points, some raiders won't even bother killing them. This isn't a guaranteed way to protect your loot, however, just take it to your advantage and use it as you will. However, there's another dino that's extremely good on hiding and protecting your loot. By placing your items in its inventory and then using the Burry ability, it'll go underground, causing itself to look like a little rock or a sand dune. By placing it down in the right area, such as high grass, you could cause it to be almost invisible to anybody who's not looking for it. Alternatively, you could place down foundations on top of it. This way it'll conceal it even more, and nobody will be looking for it underneath of the foundation. Just be aware that when doing this method, to get the Purlovia back out of the ground, you'll have to destroy the foundation to bring it back out of the Burry ability. Now Mufflee, what if I want to hide my items inside of a storage box? Great question. We're going to go over 2 methods on how to hide storage boxes. First one, as you can see here, is by placing it in the ocean inside of any type of coral area that can camouflage it. Anybody who's not looking really hard for it won't be able to find it. Just be sure to remember where you place it at, because the ocean can get very confusing. The next method of hiding a storage box will be using foundations. Now suppose you want to hide it inside your base. I'll make a makeshift 3x3 base just for demonstrational purposes. Now as you can see here, I left the center open. The center will be where I place the little storage boxes. Once I set that down, I can then cover it up with another foundation. Now as you can see here, you can't even tell that the storage boxes are there. You don't have to build an entire base just to hide these boxes. You can simply set down the little storage boxes wherever you'd like throughout the entire map, and then just place down a foundation on top of it. Most players won't think twice about it, and they'll just think it's more clutter that somebody was trying to build a base at. As you can see here, I filled out the entire walls. If somebody comes by, they're just going to think it's an unfinished base, and they won't see any items or structures inside of it, so they'll most likely just move on. However, secretly inside here in the center of it, we have our hidden storage boxes. The only downfall to this method is that you'll have to destroy the foundation each time if you want to access the storage boxes. Those are all the tips I have for you guys today on how to hide and protect your loot. I hope that helped you guys out and or gave you at least one more method. Be sure to check out my other Ark content for more tips and tricks. My name is Mufflee, and I'll see you survivors out in the Ark.